Okay, everybody, it is day 42. I posted a little video on Instagram, no fiddleheading, because I was visiting friends in up in the mountains of Maine, and I'd never seen these signs. There were about 20 of them. No fiddleheading, and I just thought it was so funny because it's so local. For those of you who aren't from around here, fiddleheads are ferns. It's when the fern comes up out of the ground, and you can eat them as a vegetable. Obviously, there's some areas where people were doing way too much fiddleheading. Okay, now, I listened this morning, and I hadn't listened for a while, to Ann Ortley, an astrologer, and you can find her. She has a podcast, and she has the weekly weather. And I have listened to her for years and years and years and had astrology readings from her as well. She's very, very good. And she just tells you what's going on astrologically, which can kind of allow you to plan. And so what she said is this whole thing will be over in December, probably December 21st. She gives you the planetary reasons. And then starting in January, this will be like cleaning up after a hurricane. And, I've thought a lot about, this thing, the new normal. Well, the new normal is not going to be face masks and never hugging anyone again. That's not it. If it is it, I believe that there will be millions of us who will move to a country where that's not it, or at least a state where that's not it. But think about it. I talked with a friend today. He's originally from Cuba, grew up in Miami. And he said these wonderful fireflies that he hasn't seen for years are coming back. I got a picture from my friend Tosha Silver in Alameda, California, and they saw like 16 little goslings out riding when they were out riding their bikes. And so nature is getting a reboot. And we don't want to go back to the way it was. We want to create something that's better. Now, one of the things that I've noticed in my own life, and I think it's happening for everyone, if there is an astrological thing that's happening globally, which there is, that same thing is happening to us personally. So as above, so below. Hermes Trismegistus. And so I would like you to ask yourself, where have you been afraid your entire life? Or what has needed to be transformed for your entire life? Because right now, what are we in the middle of? And it's a Pluto transit. We're in the middle of the breakdown and transformation of public education, the breakdown and transformation of modern medicine. And my friend today is a virologist who's worked in immunology. He knows a great deal about viruses. And he said what they do is they're a part of nature that goes out and transforms things. And that transformational power is bigger than each of our egos or our desire for things to stay the same. So there's transformation in medicine. We also discussed the fact that every natural remedy, like for probably more than 100 years, has been downplayed. Every natural remedy has been downplayed. So I was interested, did you watch Poldark? Because that doctor was always using natural remedies, and the standard guys with all the education were doing the things like bloodletting and leeches. Although there is something to be said about leeches. They apparently attach to the acupuncture points, but that's for another day, which probably will not be on this channel. Anyway, so I want you to, what we're going to spend some time doing now, now that you're all radicalized here in the army of the radical light, now we're going to start together dreaming up how we want things to be. Because you've all seen the dark plan. I was also thinking, so that my channel doesn't get taken down, I'm going to hold up some of the books that I have read since I was little there, because here's the thing. If I put up things like, books by Magenta Pixie or Return of the Bird Tribes or the Edgar Cayce stuff that I was reading when I was 12, then I will lose all my credibility with the mainstream. I've tried so hard to stay credible with the mainstream, and I've done pretty well. I mean, you know, really mainstream news and Oprah and PBS. But at this time, I don't really, I don't need to try so hard to be accepted by the mainstream. And in fact, I think that what we all need to do is be kind of like stealth missiles of love and light, spreading the new information, the transformational information, wherever we go. So what that means is you can spread that because of your energy field, your electromagnetic field. And by the way, someone asked me, what was 5D? What's 5 dimensions? 3 dimensions is, right? Height, it's the things that you can see. You know, this cup holds 8 ounces. That's 3 dimensions. 4 dimensions is you bring in thought. And then 5th dimension has been called Christ consciousness, which is being in touch always with divine love and forgiveness, being kind of neutral, like you're not Republican or Democrat, or you're not fundamentalist about anything. And it is a state of happiness and joy and understanding the big picture. Right now, we've got a bunch of planets going retrograde, so we'll be going back over things. Ann Ortley talked a lot about that in the May 10th weekly weather. So follow her podcast if you want to know what those energies are. And by the way, in my early books, when I did that first edition of Women's Bodies, Women's Wisdom, I put a little bit of astrology in there, and they said, please take this out. It really erodes your credibility, and it really scares people. And I did it. But guess what? This army of the radical light, here's what I notice. You're not scared either. Why? Because you too have been trying to exist under the radar and trying to fit into the mainstream for your whole life, just like me. And now, because of this technology, we found each other. And we are the army of the radical light. Talk tomorrow.